Hello, my Bill 5000 Nation. How's everyone doing today? Hopefully, everyone's having a great day. If not, I hope it gets better from here. We are back with another Coffeehouse Crime. That's right. And we have actually seen a video not too long on Coffeehouse Crime, and it covered some of the stories that was covered in it. Really intrigued me. This is one of those stories. It is titled, He Sought Revenge on a Studio with Murder. Okay, then if at first you don't succeed, I reckon murder. Don't do that. Don't. All right, let's go ahead and get into today's story. Go ahead, turn them lights down low, put on something comfy, cup with someone special. Let's get slightly traumatized. I have a feeling it's going to be slightly traumatizing. Ever so slightly. Just ever so slightly.
It was an attack so strangely motivated, yet so vicious, that it confused and shocked a nation to its very core. My name's Adrian, and welcome back to Coffeehouse Crime. Today we're looking at the Kyoto Animation studio massacre of 2019, a scar that runs so deep into Japan's profile that it's considered one of the deadliest attacks since World War II. If you're new to the channel, I post both solved and unsolved cases here on a weekly
Bro, I picked a good video. Fuck yeah.
basis, all while serving you as much coffee as you can handle. So if you haven't yet, please consider subscribing.
Bro, I can handle so much.
It's Coffeehouse Crime. So pull up a chair, grab a coffee and sit back. This is the case of the Kyoto Animation studio massacre.
Damn.
Japan.
Beautiful.
The national crime rate
Beautiful.
here is distinctively low when in comparison to other countries.
But that's because they don't like to talk about their dirty. We've learned that by watching this channel right here.
Particularly when looking at assault or homicide. According to a survey in 2016, Japan boasts the lowest murder rate in the world, with a score of only 0.3 people per 100,000.
What I don't understand is how you can have so many people in one area who get along that well. There's a lot of people over there, bro. There is. And I'm not criticizing anyway. You know, it is what it is. It takes a village, and they got a village. My thing is, that many people, because, if I'm not mistaken, in Japan, there's like places you just cannot build because the Japanese culture really respect their heritage and stuff, which I respect. So the places where you can live seem quite crowded. My thing is how you can have that many people in a semi-confined area without wanting to kill each other. That's crazy.
That when a murder is present in Japan, it's almost always reported as distinctively fierce. We're in Kyoto for today's case, the old capital of Japan. And although Tokyo has now claimed its spot as the capital to the country, Kyoto is still considered to be Japan's city of culture. It is home to thousands of Buddhist temples, Shinto shrines, palaces and gardens, a place that could keep any tourist mesmerized for months. Stepping back from its traditional values and attractions though, Kyoto is also advanced into the modern.
I would love to go and just touch a wall. Just any wall. I don't care. It could be like a Walmart wall there. I just want to just touch it.
World. It's not just a city defined by its history. With vibrant skylines, modern architecture and supreme infrastructure, Kyoto has a bit of everything. Something that many companies and corporations would look for when settling an office. And one of those companies was Kyoto Animation.
I think it's all the bright flashing lights that catch my attention.
Originally founded in 1981 by Hideaki Hata and his wife Yoko, Kyoto Animation has thrived from humble beginnings as a small production services company into one of Japan's most successful studios. Over the years, Kyoto Animation became recognised for its high production values and its sensitivity to the wonders and quandaries of ordinary life. Unlike most studios, they also paid their employees in salary, rather than freelance contract. They would also train their employees in-house, thus encouraging them to focus on quality, rather than quota. Kyoto Animation grew as a company over the decades,
Smart.
eventually moving from its head office in Uji City to Fushimi-ku in Kyoto, their new site affectionately named Studio One. They would go on to create popular anime titles such as Clannad, K-On!, and A Silent Voice. By the year of 2019, Kyoto Animation was thriving. They were well known.
Not really big into anime. There are some things like Seven Deadly Sins. Oh, fucking loved Seven Deadly Sins, bro. And Sword Art Online. Yeah. Those had to be like my two favorite.
Known not just for their products, but for their business practice too. But as with all types of fame, all that positive attention will come with a slice of negativity too. I mean, sure, some would simply just find Kyoto Animation's work boring. Some would even find a way to dislike their business model. But what I'm talking about is a very small minority. The type that would find personal hatred out of nothing. And one of those individuals would go by the name of Shinji Aoba. In 2019, Shinji Aoba was a 40-year-old man who lived in Saitama. He was born on the 16th of May 1978. He grew up in Midoriku, a ward in Saitama City. When he was a child,
See, he looks like a perfectly normal, cool-looking feller. Did he or did he not?
though, his parents would divorce, and this would leave him with his father, brother and sister. Shinji
so
lived a
pretty.
troubled life into adulthood. His classmates would describe him as absent and often irate. After he graduated, he became a part-time clerk at a convenience store. After that though, at the age of
7-Eleven.
34, Shinji would run into trouble with the law. It was June 2012.
Bro, I fucking love 7-Eleven. I don't care what anyone says. They got them big drinks, bro.
And he robbed a convenience store with a knife. He would gain 20,000 yen, or $200 from it, but he would eventually get caught. Police sentenced Shinji to 3.5 years in prison. At his trial, he would tell prosecutors that he was sick of living
3.5 years for $200? Fuck my ass. Was the $200 worth it, bruh? Damn.
in a society. He was eventually released in 2016, where he moved back into an apartment in Saitama City. Back in Kyoto, Kyoto Animation was growing from strength to strength through the years. And since 2009, Kyoto Animation had been hosting an annual competition called the Kyoto Animation Awards. They would host this competition to connect with their audience and offer exposure to talented writers, where contestants could submit their stories to Kyoto Animation for review. The selected winning stories to this competition would be published under the company's imprint, and, if they're lucky, would later have a chance to be adapted into an anime. The award itself is prestigious, and with 1 million yen or $10,000 up for grabs, it's fiercely competitive too. And this is where Kyoto Animation and Shinji Aoba first crossed paths. Because between the years of 2017 and 2018, Shinji would submit a story to Kyoto Animation twice. Anime is very commonly watched in Japan, so much that it's predicted that about 35% of its population watches it more than once a week. And for Shinji, he was very heavily in that category. Being a stay-at-home kind of guy, he would heavily absorb himself into anime and gaming.
Bro, I'm gonna go ahead and tell you, I haven't watched anime. I take that back. My kids watch anime, and sometimes they have me watch a show with them. Attack on Titan was like really big with them for a little bit. It was alright. I didn't understand it. They brought me in like season 2, so I didn't know what the fuck was going on.
Pretty much every day of the year. His submissions to Kyoto Animation would not go very far though. Unfortunately, they were formally eliminated by judges in the first round. The numerous rejections disappointed Shinji. They angered him, in fact. But the grudge against Kyoto Animation would only start here. And Shinji's troubled mind would only grow worse too. Since his release from prison, Shinji was growing further isolated from friends and family. In fact, he almost
Yeah.
had none. In 1999, his father committed suicide, and since then, he'd cut all contact with his brother and sister too. It was clear that by 2018, Shinji seemed resentful to the world, antisocial. With no family or friends to love, he became bitter. And with the only interactions with people around him being his neighbours, they were becoming violent too. In late 2018, after his stories had already been rejected by Kyoto Animation, Shinji was an unstable man. But there would be one new detail to his life which would set him down his darkest path. He was in his home one evening watching more anime, and the anime it was made by Kyoto Animation. In his deluded and isolated mindset though, he made a connection. The connection was that actually what he had just been watching, it seemed way too familiar. In fact, it was his story, the story he submitted in the contest last year. Kyoto Animation, they'd stolen from him. This outraged Shinji, and Kyoto Animation, they were going to hear about it.
Oh, yeah. I bet they were.
Around the same time in October, staff would...
Shit, if I made something and they told me it wasn't good enough and then they used it, oh, I'd be heated, bruh. Like, that's just how my mind works. So, like, if I put, like, okay, I don't know how he is, but for me, if I'm putting it down on paper, I like it. You know what I mean? I have a billion thoughts and ideas that run through my head all day, every day. If I'm going to take the time out to write it down and put on paper and submit it, that means that meant something to me. And then they're going to turn around and be like, don't mean shit to no one else. And then use it. Oh, bro. I've been taking my shoes off. I would have been smacking people with my steel toes. I ain't even going to lie. I would have tied the strings together. I'd start swinging them around and just knocking the living shit out of people. Tell me I ain't good enough to use my shit. I get the anger. I don't think I would have sought revenge on a studio with murder, but I definitely would have bitch slapped someone quite hard.
Wake up one morning to over 200 death threats via email, all sent to various employees across the business, the sender using anonymized software to withhold their identity. The police were contacted, but since these emails were fired out using Tor, it was impossible to find out who the sender was. Maybe we can take a guess though. Instead, police patrols were temporarily deployed around the building, and while the death threats stopped, vengeance would soon be made in a much more sinister way the following year.
Shit's about to get bad, bruh.
Sunday the 14th of July, 2019. 9 months had passed.
It's not just the title that's giving me the bad feeling. It's just we're getting to it.
But Shinji's life, it was still the same. It was the weekend, and Matsumoto, a 27-year-old quality control engineer, was enjoying his weekend on the couch. Matsumoto, or Matsu, and Shinji were neighbours, and unfortunately for the two of them, another neighbour upstairs was assembling furniture. Shinji, though, he thought it was Matsu. The two often complained at each other over noise. Usually, though, Shinji was the loud one. Shinji started to bang on the shared wall between his and Matsu's apartments. Matsu, being the courteous guy, walked up to Shinji's front door to tell him that the noise it wasn't him. Shinji opened his front door and he grabbed Matsu by the collar of his shirt before shouting at him,
"You're too loud, shut up. I'm going to kill you. I have nothing to lose."
Oh, shit.
Shinji would eventually let go of Matsu, and Matsu, who was too scared to stay at home, walked down to the police station to report the assault. By the time police would get to Shinji's house, though, to confront him, he was gone. And where he'd gone to was anyone's guess.
To kill people.
By the next day, Shinji had taken the Shinkansen bullet train to Tokyo and checked in at a local downtown hotel.
So, literally, this motherfucker just completely snapped. Like, he was at the point, don't push me cause I'm close to the edge. He was at that point, right? Oh, shit.
And the next morning, on July the 16th, Shinji travelled to Kyoto. CCTV cameras captured him at various points along the way. One at an internet cafe south of...
I love the fanny pack though, bro. Righteous. I love fanny packs. I really do. I don't know why. I think they're the shit.
Kyoto station. That night, he stayed in another nearby hotel. On Wednesday the 17th of July, still wearing the same jeans and red t-shirt that he'd worn for the last 3 days, Shinji walked into a hardware store and bought himself a metal trolley. He then wheeled...
Okay, look, I'm gonna go ahead and say it. I've had those days. I've had those weeks. I can't say days because I've had those weeks where it's a couple of days and it's just like, man, I've been off. I ain't done shit. All I've done is sit on my big ass and watch TV and eat popping corn. Why the hell do I need to change my britches? We've all been there. We've all been there. I mean, how vacations, like a week's worth of vacation, just sit there in the same pajamas all week long, just like, bro, you don't even know. I could do it.
Pulled the trolley 6 miles north, before stopping at an NES gas station to purchase 10 gallons of gasoline. Shinji then travelled with his trolley full of gasoline along Uji River towards Kyoto Animation's studio. He would stop at the night for a hotel, and the plans he had in store for tomorrow would be nothing short of evil. On Thursday the 18th of July,
So he did all this, got really close to it, and then stayed in a hotel so he'd be well rested for the next day. Man, I'm sorry, but I'm kind of liking how this dude's thinking, okay? I hate the fact that a lot of people is dead. I guarantee you a lot of people has died, but he's just man, you take my cartoon, well, sorry, my anime, tell me it's not good enough, and then y'all gonna use that shit? Man, I'm burning y'all down. I think I'm gonna stay in this nice hotel right here. I'm not saying it was a nice hotel, but I like his thought process. Please tell me he had like some lobster tail and a steak for supper, like that last meal shit, bruh.
2019, Shinji arrived at Kyoto Animation Studio with the cart full of gasoline. The time was 10:31 AM, and some 70 employees were inside, working away. That is when Shinji pushed through the building's front doors. He toppled over one of the buckets of the gasoline. He then flicked a lighter and screamed,
"You will die."
Within 10 seconds of ignition, the bucket of gasoline had exploded,
Oh,
setting
God.
the building's first floor entirely alight. And within another 10 seconds, the second floor was fully ablaze too.
Damn.
Windows on the third floor were destroyed within 1 minute of the blast, black smoke bellowing out from every open hole that it could find. Shinji Aoba was still alive,
Wow.
but considering
That place must have been really, really dry. That was fast.
he set the canister alight and that exploded less than 10 seconds later, he was on fire. He ran out of the building before collapsing in a street nearby. Passers-by, unaware of who the monster was, quickly treated Shinji for his injuries. He would very quickly regain consciousness. As soon as he did, he clambered to his feet and tried to run away. However, 2 people from Kyoto Animation recognized him. They chased after him and then barraged him to the ground. That is when police intervened and they caught up with him. When they found out who he was and they asked him why he did it, Shinji shouted,
"They plagiarized my work. I demand to speak to the company president."
Firefighters were quick to the scene, but the fate of half of the people
That's one way to make an appointment, bro. Like me, I would just call, send a letter, maybe fax. I don't have a fax, but I'd go to the library just to send a fucking fax because that's the type of person I am. I don't think you're going to get the type of meeting that you're wanting this way. You might get to talk to that motherfucker, but it's going to be with like a jury, a judge, a few lawyers, TV cameras. Damn, bro.
inside had already been determined. The fire would continue to burn without mercy
Damn.
for 5 long hours. Rescue workers would eventually find the bodies of 33 employees later that evening. 3 on the first floor, 11 on the second floor, and 19 on the spiral staircase to the roof, of which the door had failed to open from inside. The staircase acting as a giant funnel to fuel the fire. Dozens more that were in the building at the time of the attack would be treated for their injuries, but unfortunately over the following weeks, 3 more would die to their wounds, bringing the total death toll to 36. Japan was in total
Damn.
shock after the attack. As news of the fire became more obviously evil, the nation, the world, and the anime community all looked on in anger and despair. Shinji Aoba would become the assailant to one of the nation's largest acts of mass murder since the end of World War II.
Whoa.
As firefighters tended to Shinji on the streets, police would discover that he actually had a plan B. They found 6 unused knives, probably to be used if his arsonist plan failed to work. And despite the several witnesses putting Shinji as the main suspect, the 6 unused knives found on his persona, and soon CCTV footage showing him at various locations with a cart full of gasoline, Kyoto police were not able to formally arrest the man. He had suffered severe burns across his entire body, injuring himself so badly that he was
At least he lives so he can get judged. Yay. Like, I was gonna be a little upset, like, if he was right there and he died because of it. Like, you know, he didn't plan on coming out of it alive. Did he plan on coming out of it alive, or was this like a kamikaze style, like, I'm gonna go in, we're all going out together, bruh? Or did it just kind of happen that way and he was just stuck in the middle of it? Or do we even know? Do we?
unconscious. And although police had a warrant for his arrest, they were unable to formally do that until medical examinations certified that he would be fit to survive in a detention facility. Shinji was actually given a 1% chance to live, and as the days turned into weeks, he was still unconscious after the attack. And miraculously, or unfortunately, depending which way you look at it, Shinji would survive his injuries. In September 2019, doctors would certify
I want it to be miraculously he survived his injuries, because, Mr. Adrian, when it comes down to it, we are all good people, buddy. Because I want him to live, so whenever he goes to his little prison hole ain't little no more. You know what I mean? You know what I mean? If you don't know what I mean, I was talking about his booty hole. That moment.
that he was no longer in a life-threatening condition. There was a lack of human skin available for grafting though, as organ donation is rare in Japan. So officials made the right decision to give the victims priority to receive donor skin before Shinji. And that donor would never arrive, as Shinji became the first person in Japan to get a fully artificial skin graft. Police would eventually be able to start questioning Shinji in September 2019, and it was then that he confirmed again that yes, he was the arsonist to the attack. He would then go on to say,
I had a grudge against Kyoto Animation. I thought that if I sprayed gasoline around the building while setting the fire, I could kill more people, so that's why I did that.
It was in May 2020 that Shinji was declared
Wow.
fit enough for arrest, 10 months after the attack. By this time though, the world had started spiralling into a pandemic. The story of Shinji Aoba would slowly trundle on, but without the international attention it once received. He was formally arrested on the 27th of May 2020, and by December 2020 he was formally charged too. The 42-year-old undeniably guilty of his crimes.
But see, that's the thing. Like, bro, look at him. He just looks like a normal, everyday fucking person. And I love the fanny pack, bro. I really do.
He would confirm the reason for his rage is that he felt Kyoto
I could have hung with you, bro. I would have been your friend. Man, we could have been fanny pack bros, you know?
Animation had stolen one of his ideas, and they'd used it in one of their anime without crediting or compensating him.
That
He
is fucked
said,
up.
The thing Kyoto Animation copied from me was the scene in Tsurune, where the main characters buy discounted meat.
According to reports, the scene is vastly generic, and Kyoto Animation, they deny plagiarizing anything from the man. The days following the studio massacre, Kyoto Animation initially stated that they
So literally, his whole thing was because they bought this kind of meat, which I have seen in so many different cartoons. It's not even funny because it's just cheap beer, basically. Yeah, that does sound like something pretty stupid to get that angry about. I retract everything I said previously. We couldn't have been friends. I still like your fanny pack though.
were not aware of any contest entries by Shinji. But during a more thorough examination, they discovered that he had indeed submitted his own novel. This would again highlight, though, that his novel had been rejected in the first round of judgments and scrapped from the company's awareness. A year and a half after the attack, a 6-month psychological evaluation on Shinji's mental health had ended, and the conclusion was that yes, Shinji, he knew what he was doing when he lit the fire. He was mentally coherent.
But
This paves the way for Shinji to be prosecuted to the full extent of the law, and with Japan accepting the death penalty in certain circumstances, and this being one of the worst mass murders in over 70 years' time,
death penalty?
it's not looking very good for Shinji.
No.
Kyoto Animation also shared that they expect Shinji to be prosecuted to the maximum extent under Japanese law. And this is where we are today in the case of Shinji Aoba, because although he has been charged and he is in prison, he has not yet been sentenced. His trial is expected to happen later this year, at the end of 2021, maybe into 2022. Following the tragic loss of life, the world reached out to Kyoto Animation.
Bro, we're like what? Over halfway through 2023 now? Ooh, Adrian Holmes, have you done an update to this video, bro? If you haven't, you need to. I want to know what happened.
The company set up a donations account to provide financial relief to the surviving victims and to the families of those that were lost. The bank account would reach over 3 billion yen, or $30 million, and all of this would eventually find its way to the intended people. A separate GoFundMe was also raised by fans to help bring Kyoto Animation and its studio back to life, and in December 2019, over $2.3 million would reach Kyoto Animation to rebuild itself. Productions by the company did obviously become postponed or cancelled, but now most of them are resuming and back to work.
Hell yeah.
The site in which Shinji left his ugly scar in the world has since been demolished. Tokyo Animation's president Hideaki Hata stated that he was considering replacing the building with a green public park and memorial, but this is yet to be decided.
Hell yeah.
Most of the remaining survivors to the attack stayed
yeah.
on in the company too, refusing to resign. For most of them, they recognised the harsh reality was not reflective to the company. And for some, the only way they could feel close to the colleagues that they had lost was to carry on in their wake.
That's
The nation has also
It's so
started to
sad.
take precautions in the sale of gasoline, restricting how much people can buy at any one time. And since 2019, fire safety precautions on buildings have also been improved too. And although we don't yet know what will happen to Shinji, we do know that he did not stop Kyoto Animation. Sure, the studio remains injured, but it aspires to come back stronger from the event, and eventually be a place where the victims can be honoured and remembered. And that's where we are today, so yeah, I guess let's see what happens. Thank you so much for watching another one of my videos.
Man, that was actually, ooh, ooh. I really enjoyed it. Oh, I enjoyed it so much. I really did. I love the dude's fanny pack. We could have been fanny pack friends, bro. Like there's better ways you could have went about that all the way around, homie. I'm just saying. I would like to know what happened. I would like this, like maybe a little 5-second update video, Mr. Adrian, sir. Yes, no, maybe so. Hey, if there is, or if anyone just knows, hell, just let me know in the comments down below, like what all to get. I don't want him to get death, though. I'm sorry, that's an easy way out. Like your suffering's done. I want you to get it in the butt for the 20-30 years before that inevitable. You know what I mean? All right. I really enjoyed today's story. If y'all enjoyed today's story as much as I did, please go down there, hit that thumbs up button. While you're down there, going over, hit that subscribe button. Become part of the Bill 5000 Nation. We do some crazy shit here, bruh. As always, be good to one another. I'll see you in the next one. Bye-bye. Man. I thought it was like they ripped off like half of his story, not just like one generic ass scene that's probably been used 1,001 times in anime. I mean, for the love of God.